A warm welcome to you wherever it is you're reaching us from around the world. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwebiki.
And I'm Choma Okohe.
Alright, without wasting so much time, let's kickstart our day with all that we have from our newspaper desk. And right after that will be our main conversation also. But please do well to be part of our community. Have a say in what we say. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. We have Emeka Madunago, journalist, public affairs analyst, to set sail for us on all that we have. Good morning, Emeka.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right, so let's kickstart today.
Yes, and we'll be starting with the Guardian newspaper. And on the top strip, you have future of opposition uncertain as political or as politicians begin realignment.
Yes, we have a couple of pictures here. The president, the chairman of the APC, and some other couple of opposition. The PDP chairman, Labour Party, and Kwankwaso. I guess they're trying to see if there's going to be a coalition that might not work against the APC.
We cannot say it won't work yet because we never can tell what the future holds.
All right, let's see how that goes though. But on the bottom strip here we have a power sector crisis. Genco's unpaid invoice hit 1.4 trillion naira amid 12th degree the collapse.
Okay, moving on food security. Experts worries over 40% post-harvest losses.
And also we have, despite security blockage, Sanusi vows to install new district head of Bichi.
Okay, moving on. Dangote Refinery exports PMS to Cameroon, partners Neptune Oil. Details of that particular story are on page 5.
All right, but let's take a look at our talking point here. Tinubu, I will seek re-election. Opposition, can't stop him, says Daniel Bwala. Emeka Madunago. Let's talk about Daniel Bwala for a bit. Just before we get into whatever it is he wants to say here. You know, I do not know. Some people have assumed that he is possibly a mole, allegedly, you know, planted to the APC to see if it's possible he could, of course, do a little bit of damage there before finally going back to where he was used for. Do you work with such submission?
Well, I think if there's the issue of his being a mole, that must have been when he was with Alhaji Atiku Abubakar of the PDP. Yes, he was in APC before. You know, people like Daniel Bwala are not really political party dependables or stalwarts. These guys are just there, you know, part of the hallelujah crowd, you know. They don't really make any impact. Where has Daniel Bwala ever won in his life? Has he won a ward or a polling unit? Nothing. Hasn't won anything. So has it been of any consequence? Can he say he has been part of any movement that produced anybody? Maybe even as a student union level or anything. So people like that, that's why they're just lucky, you know. they get jobs as aides to, you know, and earn a good salary every month to take care of his bills. Other than that, I don't see anything fantastic about it. Okay, he's a lawyer. I'm sorry, he's a lawyer. What fantastic cases has he handled? What?
But Emeka Madunago, it's been believed that once there is life, there is hope. And for them to actually get to pick him, even though from your books he has not actually been part of a movement, maybe there's something they are seeing in him, and maybe 2027 can make a difference.
Sister, let me tell you something. There's nothing anybody sees anybody. You see, Nigerian politicians will hardly take people who are cerebral. People will tell them to their faces that, Oga, this thing you are saying doesn't make sense, doesn't add up. They won't take people who will not lie on their behalf. They won't take people who will use crude, coarse language. They won't take such people. They will take people who, yes sir, go and abuse them, call them names, insult their fathers and their mother. Yes sir, that's it. So it's not about, there was something you said, I've forgotten. You know, you see, where there's life, there's hope. Of course now, in Nigeria of today with the harsh economy, if you have a job that's paying you up to 400, 500, 600,000 naira a month, what are we talking about? Where you have a lot of freebies. That life is really hopeful.
but when we look at Daniel Bwala, you know, other people like him, fellas like him, like FFK, Femi Fani, Kayode, comes to mind because they all play in the same kind of team. What do you think, personally now, what do you think, goes to their mind when they reflect on what they have said before against people they are in bed with? What do you really think comes to mind?
Do they care? Daniel Wala, the tweets he made about Tinubu, about APC, they are still there now. They have not deleted them. But you have some who have deleted their tweets now, who have deleted tweets they made in the past. There are some like that now, but there are some who don't give a hoot. Fanika, everything they have said is still there now. So they don't give a hoot. See, all this thing boils down to what you call your personal values, your personal principles. At the end of the day, see, you can belong to a church that preaches the best kind of virtues, Christian virtues in the Bible. But if you're not personally convinced that you should toe that path, let me tell you something. Anything is fair game. Anything, any kind of conduct, any kind of job, any kind of money is fair game. So it all boils down to what they call personal values, personal principles. So that's why for those who delete their tweets, maybe they don't have the courage of their conviction. They are not courageous enough, to be able to own those tweets with their chest. Maybe those tweets were for, were towards an end. I mean, maybe to get a job, a political appointment, maybe to keep a political appointment, maybe to please, a link to their principal. But the thing is that, see, people like us, we've got to a level in life where, look, it's only our lives are in the hands of God. So, you see, political appointments, I, for one, will not get employed by anybody to go and start abusing people. We will write it down. It will be written. We will have a written agreement. Because the thing is this, many people tell you, they are doing their job. And they are doing their professional job. And I say, if you are asked to go and abuse your father or your mother, would you say that that's doing your job? So, the thing is to draw the line. That is why, you see, the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, over the years has said that public office holders should appoint people who are members of the institute, people who have gone through courses in NIPR, on image management, on media relations, on reputation management. People who can package things without having to, just look at the other day, Bayo Nonuga, see the way he was describing Obasanjo. You don't do that. You see some people, you don't do that. You don't need to get to the extremes because you want to please your principal. Look, instead of calling somebody an idiot, which is offensive, there are ways in which you can still deliver your message. People will even applaud you. But when your communication, your mode of communication, the choice of what is not better than what some thugs on the street, engaged in a brawl will use, then it will rub off on your principle.
Thank you so much, Emeka. Thank you. We have to move on because of time. And the next daily on our desk is the Punch newspaper.
Yes, and we have the big story here. 2.7 trillion naira debt. Nigerians face blackout as gas producers cut supply to Jenkins. And we have a rider here, Power Minister, Presidency aware of situation, say Jenkins. Okay,
on the top strip you have on COVID-19 variant. Inbound passengers to present health declarations. Details are on page 14.
And also we have bank workers blame CBN as cash shortage worsens. Now,
Emeka, that's our main topic of discussion because we can't actually go through other stories on the desk. Bank workers blame CBN as cash shortage worsens. Now, are the banks blaming the CBN because they are to be held responsible, or they are also playing a role in the cash shortage? Because it's been not just rumored, it's been figured out that most of these bank officials or this bank staff, they own POS office, they own POS operating outlets where they get to give them cash and get to run the business even though they are in the front line. So how do we go about this?
Okay, the interesting thing is this. Who prints the cash? Is the Mint, the Nigerian Security Printing and Minting Corporation. One. Who distributes the cash? The Central Bank of Nigeria. to deposit money banks.
Sure.
Then deposit money banks have different customers. You know, sorry, not just deposit money banks, also microfinance banks. You know, they have customers. They also have schemes that, you know, through which they register these POS operators. You know, so the POS operators, there are some of the banks that have schemes that, you know, enable them to fund, to actually provide upfront, you know, funding for their POS operators online, so they can, you know, get some facilities and all of that. Then at another level, you have the fintechs. You know, you have the fintechs. You know, of course, those ones have platforms that, you know, help to ensure speedier transfers than the banks, than deposit money banks. Now, where does the money go to? If you remember, when Emefiele was pushing the Naira, the cash swap policy, there was a certain quantity. Pardon me, I don't, you know, I don't remember the figures now. But there was a certain, was it 2 billion naira or so that was supposed to be printed at that time. But for expediency, you know, because of time, they could only print half of it. Now, between then and now, the CBN, I don't think they have printed the remaining half. Then, they have also been engaged in mopping up currencies, destroying, you know, removing mutilated currencies out of circulation. So, in between, what efforts have they made? Because at the same time, we're talking of cash policy. At the same time, we're talking of cashless policy. So, it's part of the incoherence in public policy in Nigeria. This morning, let's keep this mug up, this teacup up. The next morning, let's keep it on this saucer. Another morning, let's carry everything up. Another morning, no coherence. And at the end of the day, that is why you find this kind of thing. Even POS, there was a POS operator I wanted to collect cash from yesterday that said, we don't have cash. I was shocked. Now, what happens is that the POS operators, you know, these days, they actually have businesses that fund their POS operators, so that they don't have to solely depend on the banks. You know, they don't have to be going to the banks every time. That's why you go to the banks, you go to some bank branches. Every day, Monday to Friday, you will see people, you know, sitting under some canopies outside. Every day. Then, how do they get funded? You go to filling stations, you see their, you know, their workers, you know, their salesmen and women holding bundles of cash. Now, the question is this. For how long can we continue going around in circles? The CBN is saying there's cash scarcity, but the CBN has mopped up currency. How much currency has the CBN brought back into the system? Do we want to go for a cashless policy? Why don't we pursue it? Do we want to go for a mixture, a hybrid, cash and cashless? Then let's look at the fact that Nigerians, you know, a lot of business in Nigeria, 70% of business in Nigeria are in the informal sector, unstructured sector. So it's difficult for you to know how the cash moves around, So in between, where if there are some people who profiteer, you know, in cash, like you go to parties, on Saturday now, go to parties, you will see women with brand new notes, selling those notes at a premium. Where are they getting those notes? So what it means is that you need to now adopt a forensic scientific approach. You must get more businesses into the structured sectors of the economy so that you know how the cash moves. Then those women, there is a subsisting law against trading in cash. But how many people, apart from maybe 1 or 2 women who are caught and just used as an example, and then nothing happened?
But when you say trading in cash, the POS operators equally trade in cash because they give you and you pay.
They are registered. You remember the central bank said they should register companies. You know, they should register companies. They should register with the CAC. These women are not registered with anybody. 1, 2. The POS operators, their trade goes through systems that are monitored. You know, I mean, there's a back end now. They have to go through the Nigeria Interbank settlement system. If you want, let's say, 1 million naira, you will put your card in the POS machine. and then it will be recorded that 1 million naira came out from your account. But rather, there are backhand ways through which these things are sold, are made available. So you can just see maybe a transfer. They can just transfer from their account, just transfer to those women from their accounts, You don't know who is transferring to whom. Where is the money coming from? Where is the money going to? You might be surprised that you see money coming from maybe Buy Water Enterprises, going to Sell Guguru Ventures. You get? There is no description.
Thank you so much.
Exactly.
And do you know the interesting thing? The other thing is this. With the onboarding of some of these fintechs, the much you can see is NIN of the person registering the account. The business, some of these fintechs are registering, they're opening accounts with business names. But are those business names registered? No.
All right. Mega, let's talk about this particular issue, because I think it's very important we look at it, the defamation issue. Abuja Oyo court bars further sales of Farotimi's book. And this seemed to me like, the grotesque measure taken by NBC most times when they allow a song, right, that an artist had made, which is not so good, trend for a very long time. And when it becomes international, it's already winning awards. That's when NBC would come out and say they want to ban it from airplay. Don't you think this is equally the same thing, that the judiciary had allowed something to be all over the place, and now they're coming to say stop the sales? Don't you think this will increase the black market desire for it as
much?
Why
not? No, let me tell you, we can only deceive ourselves now. We can only deceive ourselves that court order can stop. Even the Bible, do you know the Bible was banned at the time? In the Dark Ages. If you were caught with the Bible, you'll be killed. The Bible could only be accessed by priests. It was kept in a cage. Name it, there are different books. The Charles Darwin's evolution theory was banned. Mein Kampf was banned. Name it, popular books. There was if you look at it, about 13 books. Satanic verses. Name them. But you know what? That was when the trade even shut up. Why? Courts are not God. They are not omnipresent. They are not everywhere. They can only rule on facts before them. Somebody has brought an application that please give an order banning this book. That's all the court can do. The court couldn't have anticipated that somebody will come to ask for an order to ban a book, and they say, okay, we believing, okay, with this controversy, somebody will come, let's give an order. The court doesn't have that kind of power. It is when you put it down, maybe it's an injunction to allow just 90 days. Then you now put the defendants on notice, to come and, in the main suit. But the point is this. You see, literary content, musical content, thrive on one thing: poetic license. That is it. That is why you hear some of this, music, some of these songs, with raw lyrics. They're just, just imagination, just playing on imagination, because they know they will always get, market. You understand? Why you see somebody say, shake your body, shake your bum, shake your this and that, they know there are markets that pander to that. They know there are publics that pander to such things. So a court order can only say, okay, don't sell them in the public. The man under the bridge, or the man selling music in the wheelbarrow, or those flea shops under, in corners, selling old books and even selling pirated books. We're even talking of banned books. What about pirated books? You bring out a book today. Somebody said there was a book he wrote, and he was wondering, why is there no money coming from this book? Until somebody told him he saw the book somewhere. And then he went and lo and behold, his own book, he had to buy a pirated copy of his book. So that is how, literary content, musical content, name it. Thoughts, for instance. People have even come out to break down the book, to publish a summary of a book everywhere. So you don't even need to go to any bookshop to buy the book. People have already done it. AI is even there. AI can help you summarize the book. Okay, it's banned in the bookshop, but you tell AI, oh yeah, quickly. And AI will give you a summary of the book.
Thank you so much.
So the thing is just that, well, that's the way the society works.
Very true. That's where and how the society works. You can't stop an ideology. You know, ideology is so deep. It's etched in the minds of people. You can stop the physical product, but the ideology is just like fate.
Yeah.
Can
Just
someone
like
actually change your fate?
So let me just
yes.
There's a book that is banned. Do you know that book is fake? Everything in the book is false. It has been banned, but do you know what? That book is still being sold very well. What can you do?
Very true. All right, that's just about the size of our segment on this particular show for today. Thank you so very much, Emeka.
Thank you so much, Emeka.
Emeka of today. Emeka will be here to equally take us on our main conversation.
Yeah, and when we return, historic power crisis. Nigeria's national grid crumbles for the 12th time in 2024. We'll find out why. To stay with us.